For our tour this week, I'm going to preface it by saying, please overlook the grass. Both of our lawnmowers are in the shop. I went to check yesterday on them. They won't be ready for another week. The grass is looking pitiful, but the gardens are looking fabulous. So let's focus on the garden and not the grass. We're going to start over here by our driveway garden beds. This is what I call them. And as you can see, we still have daffodils blooming, but we now have irises that have joined the party, and the roses have also joined the party in small doses. Over the next few weeks, we'll get to see more roses and more irises. This is a beautiful lavender iris. It is an old variety. I will put the names of the plants and flowers when possible on the screen so that you know what they are. These are some twin sisters daffodils, and they're called twin sisters because they have 2 blooms per stem. Old variety as well. I foraged those from an old estate, and then over years have just divided them, and I have them all around the garden. The Dutch irises are also blooming at this time, and I have different colors throughout the yard. See how many buds are on these roses? That's what I mean when I said we're going to have a roses show. The peonies are also blooming, some, and some are still opening. So over the next week, we'll probably get more peonies. This is a different type of iris. This one has some white and yellow. This is Crown Princess Margareta. I mean, look at that bloom, y'all. Isn't that fabulous? And there are quite a few. I put her in this spot. This is her second year, and then I trellised her. I need to tie her off so that she can spread more and produce more blooms. Let's take a look at this side. This is a damask rose, which is an old world rose. It is extremely fragrant, and you'll notice a lot of block spot on my roses. Typically, I don't have issues this early in the season, but we've had a very mild winter and a hot spring. It's going to be 85 degrees today, y'all. So you can imagine what our weather will be like this summer. So that is that damask rose there. There are lots of shrubbery that is waking up and doing its thing. I love the 2-toned color on this spirea. Let's see which one it is. I think it's called Superstar Spirea. It's from first edition Shrubs and Trees. Isn't that beautiful? This is a lemon burst arborvitae, and it's going to add that contrasting color. All of these daffodils in the next couple of weeks will be gone. I'm just allowing the bulbs to get some energy. And once these things go away, you'll be able to see the shrubbery in the garden even better. This is a dianthus, and I had one little clump, and over time I have broken it up and added it here and along this border. This clump here and this one are big enough to divide this year, so we'll have 2 more clumps going further. It's kind of what I do with a lot of the plants in my garden because plants are expensive, y'all. More yellow irises. This bed, you'll see the color scheme of purple, white, yellow, and variations of those colors. Pink, purple, white, yellow in this bed. And of course, yellow for contrast. I love these irises. These are from Miss Carolyn. You hear me talk about Miss Carolyn's garden. Then my clematises are fully blooming. This is Nellie Mauser and Dr. Ruppel intertwined. You can see the darker ones are the Dr. Ruppel. The lighter ones are the Nellie Moser. This is a gorgeous rose, angel face. It's a gift from my youngest. More irises coming. And more of this dianthus. This is one of the clumps that I want to divide and spread on further down the lane. This is another peony here. It's going to bloom shortly. I have 3 of these superstar spireas. Here's the third one. Another clematis here. This one is called Henri. It's French for Henry. This is a David Austin Golden Celebration Rose. Not quite blooming yet, but it's coming. This clematis is different than the one down there. This is called Fireworks. And it is called that because of this effect right here. And then it fades to this color. So it starts out this color and fades to that. I also have a pink mink that I planted in the fall. So hopefully I'll get a bloom or two this year. Over here, we have a shade garden that has some hostas and some heucheras and some hydrangeas in here. I just added this Japanese maple right there. It's a bloodgood Japanese maple for contrasting foliage. And behind it are the native azaleas that are going past their prime. I wish I had time before to film a tour when they were at their peak, but life, y'all. Life. These are called Northern Exposure Black Heucheras, and I love the deep foliage contrast. This is an oak leaf hydrangea. You see, it has a couple blooms on it. This is the first time it's blooming. There's one here and one on the other side of the Japanese maple. Lola. Here's a Durvilla. Love the contrasting foliage. And then there's an ivory halo dogwood right here. Amber Jubilee 9 bark right here. And then the snowball bush backed up by the native azaleas, the pinks that you see, is just looking absolutely beautiful. There's not much blooming back here at the moment, but it's coming. It's going to be an explosion of color probably in the next week or so because the roses are just about ready. And then in a few weeks, these hydrangeas here, these are the eclipse hydrangeas. They're going to look like that in bloom. Do you see how many blooms are on this thing? And so what I did is I planted a row of 6 of these on this side of the house. So I'm looking forward to them blooming and having that color. Another snowball bush. This little area of this flower bed is making me quite happy. You can see the flowers are beginning to open on these 3 roses right here. And the Japanese maple that I added there, that's new also. More of the native dogwoods. And then the bird bath, the birdhouse, and that pot just sets it off. My plan this year is to get a seat made for the bench so that it could be a nice sitting area. Another new rose that I added is called Ball Gown. Nope, that's Sunbelt Savannah. That is Sunbelt Savannah. And I'm going to show you a shrub that if you don't own, you need to own. And I'm telling y'all, this thing right here is called a sweet shrub. It smells so heavenly. I don't know how to describe it. Brad from Garden Evolution says it smells like grapes, like wine. I think it smells like ripe pineapples or a combination of both. I just moved this here, so I need to scrub it and add water, but I think that is absolutely perfect in that spot. Such a beautiful shot. And there are more buds, so we'll have some more blooms. There's some more buds that'll be blooming shortly. On this side, we have azaleas and macrophylla hydrangeas. And y'all, I think we're past our last frost. We may get some actual blooms this year. Our last frost usually kills our buds, but it didn't. So look at this eclipse hydrangea. Just covered with buds. I'm going to insert some footage of these azaleas when they were at their peak in bloom. So pretty. I did a rejuvenation pruning on them a couple of years ago, and they rewarded me this year with tons of blooms. Macrophylla. Beautiful. This area is coming together how I like it. More snowball bushes. This is a Reeve spirea. That's a flowering plum. And of course, hydrangeas. I added some phlox to this bed, as well as some veronica. You can see them here and over here. And just removed a lot of the leaves because this oak tree sheds a lot of leaves every year, and what it had done is it was choking out all the plants. So I removed all the leaf cover, and all of a sudden everything is springing back. So dianthus here. More snowball bushes. Over here we have a cherries jubilee baptisia. Want to see up close? Isn't that beautiful? Love the colors on it. And the iris in front is yellow to play off the yellow from the baptisia. Someone is going to ask about this yellow shrub. That's a Japanese Kiara. More snowball bushes behind the patio area. More damask rose. This plant pot has not been potted up for the season. This is leftover from winter. I need to still get to that. Look at this iris, y'all. Not sure what her name is. I planted pink. I got purple. So I don't know what this is. At least it was labeled pink. It's bloomed purple. This is a pop art rose. And this iris has bloomed, but it was so windy that it got knocked over. I took it in the house. I'll insert a picture. More irises getting ready to bloom, and so is this rose. And then look at this dappled willow shrub, y'all. I planted this for my nephew who passed away, and it's just growing its little head off. This is a series of 4 knockout rows, and I planted it next to these Siberian irises. And the reddish pink and that purple really plays nicely together. That Lady Banks rose is still going, y'all. Most of the blooms have gone over, though. And the red bud is leafed out, as are most things in the garden. Irises in bloom and roses coming in hot. This is a variegated weigela, and it's beautiful. More irises. And then some peonies right here and right here. This one was almost as rich as that one in color, and this is fading. This is a coral charm peony. You can see some of the alliums are beginning to open. We had a great daffodil year, had a horrible tulip year. Not sure I'll plant tulips again. Y'all, I planted how many hundreds of tulips? I may have gotten a handful of blooms. It just was too hot too quick for them. Let's see, here's this weigela again. Need to add some water to the fountain. And that weeping redbud, the ruby Falls weeping redbud, is leafed out as well. It's hard. That is a Birdies Japanese maple, just a green Japanese maple. Below it is a neon burst dogwood, and Bertha is loaded with blooms, but Bertha's going to get a hair trim. She's growing kind of scraggly. I want to cut off the top and just kind of give her a decent shape so she can grow how I want her to grow. I don't like this scraggly nature. So I'm going to wait till she blooms, and then I'm going to trim her up. More of those sweet shrubs. These are native here. I didn't plant these. Quite a few of them on the property, and I just let them grow. This is an autumn starburst. This is an autumn starburst azalea. This is that Samaritan dogwood. Look at the color on this thing. Look at the pink on the leaves. This is a camellia. It's almost past its prime. I just planted this clematis here. I want to have this purple here with this underlying purpley pink, this camellia here that's red, and this rose that's red, and it'll create a nice contrast. This is a wine and roses weigela. Hummingbirds love weigelas. If you don't have any in your yard, add you some, because when they come in my yard looking for food, they go to the honeysuckle. They go to these in the early spring, as well as abelias and there's another early spring flower that they tend to go to. So you want to have options for them. I don't put out bird feeders except November, December, well, late November, December, and January. And then I have enough things planted that they are satisfied. Do you hear those birds? Those are my neighbor's guinea hens. Foxgloves are blooming. I should say some of them are blooming. Another ivory halo dogwood. It's going to be a great honeysuckle year. Look at all those blooms. My hummingbirds are going to love it. This is the long border in the front. This is the memorial garden here. And then I just call this one around the bed the house. The house, I just call the one around the house flower bed, because it runs along the entire house. These foxgloves are doing what I wanted them to do. Planted these from seed last year. These are the petite knockout roses. They're covered with blossom. More dianthus. More ivory halo dogwood. And behind it is a winecraft smoke bush. That yellow, let's see that vibrant chartreuse color right here. And then next to it is a euonymus. In between is a ginger wine ninebark. The ruby tears crabapple has finished blooming and now has a ton of mini crabapples all over it. Huh. You should have seen in the tour from last week where that was in bloom. Another one of those autumn starburst, encore azalea, and more of those clematis back there. More of that lavender iris. More twin sisters, daffodils. More irises. This has the same clematis as down at the bottom. And so I'm looking forward to, over the years, it becoming a beautiful statement in the garden in the spring. And then this columbine, y'all. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Look at all them little petals. So pretty. I grew that from seed. Also, my friend Louisa sent those to me. More irises. Another Zephyrin Druin rose blooming on that obelisk. Let's take a look over here. More of those damask rose. I just love. Look at this. All these blooms. This is a coral bark Japanese maple. More of that iris. More neon burst dogwood. And this is a sunshine ligustrum. There's one more of those wine and roses weigela. And then I don't know if you noticed, I moved this Japanese maple here. It used to sit over in the memorial garden, but when my husband would pass, he would bump into it, and I knew it was only going to get bigger. So I moved it there, and it looks like it has always been there. Didn't skip a beat. It just happened to rain the next 2 days, and it settled in just fine. This Jacmani Clematis is blooming, and she is covered with blooms. Look at how much black spot this rose has. This is a dwarf bearded iris called Moss Baby. Next to coordinating color foxgloves. And you notice the bloom has the same purple as the clematis. This whole little moment right here. I love how the road disappears, invites you down into the garden. Two things. I wanted some more burgundy in this flower bed, so I added the Ruby Tears crabapple, and then I added this smoke tree right here. This is from Monrovia. And then I purchased another one for this bed over here and had it there 2 years. It didn't do a thing. I moved it this spring here, and it's finally leafing out. It likes it better here than over there. And that's how it is with plants. Sometimes you don't get the spot right and you just need to move it because they'll let you know. In this bed we have some Dutch irises blooming, as well as Nepeta. This is my favorite Dutch iris, the yellow and white combo. In this bed that has the chartreuse colored spirea, I'll show you. And then look at this iris. This is called Night Owl. A friend sent this to me, and y'all, it's the first time that it's blooming, and it took my breath away. They're Mount Everest alliums. But let's get back to this iris. Just so stunning. Here's more of that spirea, and you can see the pink color in it coordinates with the pink of this wine and roses weigela. We're going to have, I think there's like 6 or 7 around the yard of these. You see the dark contrasting foliage, the burgundy, lends a nice touch, especially when I like this pop of yellow so much. It really contrasts nicely. This is Stratoscanthia. I'm going to be removing it out of the garden as much as possible. This rose is going to bloom, bloom, bloom in the veggie garden behind. Now in this bed, the sensory garden, we have columbine blooming. More of that columbine. And we have this bearded iris that's taller than me. No, It's taller than my hip. It's getting ready to bloom. It was sent to me by my friend Vanessa. And I can't wait for it to bloom so I can see what it looks like. Dianthus. Yarrow. There's not much blooming in this bed. I did add some damask rose to the back last year, just for some color back there. And this peony, Bowl of Beauty, is just starting to open. This one is a pollinator friendly peony because they can get to the center where the pollen is. There's a Japanese maple. It's a weeping lace leaf Japanese maple. I want to show you. I have some pictures of this. When it was in full bloom, I'll insert it. And the shade garden, these encore azaleas are actually blooming so nicely this year. The native azalea, this yellow one, is just about done blooming. I'll insert some footage. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the shade garden because I'm going to film an actual video to post before this one where you will see, and I'll talk you through my rationale and everything. So I'll just give you a quick overview. Up by my office, we have irises. These are the immortality irises. And the roses up here haven't popped yet. More of the immortality irises. Huge. We have Peggy. There's Peggy Martin Rose across the top of the porch. And she's going to be given a show like no other soon. I'll make sure I capture it for you all. Look at all those buds. Do you see them? These are things hardening off to go out into the garden. More foxgloves. This cell-seeded. And another of the Jacmani Clematis, intertwined with the rose. This spirea is also very pretty. I think it's called Pink Sparkler. There are 3 of them. And there's a rose. It's called Lottie's Love. Now, I've added some more irises this year in this section right here. So going forward up here, we'll have more color. And I am thinking of adding a few additional items to just up the color factor in this area. Pink sparkler. Isn't it pretty? There are 3 of them as well. 1, 2, 3.